churches came together 30 years ago because they wanted to serve the neighbors who were sleeping on their front steps.
In 1986, this part of Tryon Street had St. Peter, empty lots, an empty factory, gas stations, and tire stores, and nothing else. They saw a lot of people who were on the streets, if you will, gravitating to this area. Father Gene talked about how he had made sandwiches for them, and then almost immediately he began his mission on the streets of uptown Charlotte.
About 1993, St. Peter's Catholic down the street invited St. Peter's Episcopal to help them with some affordable housing initiatives.
So you have St. Peter putting his arms around uptown Charlotte.
And they thought, how can we as a church come together and love this community that needs so much?
What became quite evident immediately was that people thought uptown was unsafe. They blamed the homeless on it being unsafe, and they didn't really have much interest in doing anything for those in need. They just wanted them out of the way.
I was working for what became Bank of America in Center City, and the businesses in Center City really didn't know what to make of street people lining up every day to have a lunch meal here at St. Peter's. So it was a new situation for Charlotte, and some people were aghast, and others were surprised that amount of homelessness existed.
They started renting individual properties and putting these homeless men at the time into the properties in shared living situation.
In the early to mid-90s, there were some significant roadblocks. They were saying that the problem hadn't been solved, et cetera, something that, this city and this country has seen a lot when what people would rather ignore starts to become very visible. They just focused, continued to move ahead. Ultimately, out of that comes what would be known as McCreesh Place, and that became the heart of what was the supportive housing community effort over the last 30 years.
That is how we came to be known as the first permanent supportive housing in Charlotte. We expanded on our McCreesh property, which was our first permanent supportive housing, by adding single residency units or studio apartments. When we did that, we also incorporated single women into the facility.
I'm really excited to see the growth of supportive housing communities. I've seen the organization not just grow in terms of the number of residents that we serve, but the outreach and the opportunities that we've given our residents, from helping them with job placement to making sure they have the right mental health support. We have a fabulous team of social services workers that are there, along with the residents at McCreesh Place.
For the past decade, SHC has been focused on expanding the types of programs that we offer. We currently offer Keeping Families Together, which helps us reunite individual parents with their children.
So basically, my kids were in foster care, and I was just trying to find housing, because that was like my missing link, housing. I think I was working then. Everything was going good with me besides being able to get somewhere to stay. And that was like my issue for 2 years. And that's kind of what this program did for me. I wouldn't have my kids. Went from an empty house to like something you see in the magazine, supportive housing communities. They were more excited than I was, cause they're like, oh, we got you, we gonna furnish it, you're gonna be good, you don't need nothing. I'm like, people say a lot, but everybody doesn't show. People just need a chance, I feel. Like a little boost sometimes.
So the one thing that I learned with supportive housing communities is all of the other needs that are important to not just finding stable housing, but the support services that were necessary. And I think our partnership at Ally with supportive housing is really helping them to remove barriers to economic mobility, helping them to remove barriers in the areas of mental health and stable housing. And so that's something that we feel very proud to be a partner with them.
I lived at the shelter for 2 years. I was running from a domestic violence relationship, and I got housing, but I lost it because of domestic violence, and the shelter put me in supportive housing. Out of all the organizations that I've dealt with, supportive housing was the only one that truly helped.
Supportive housing communities may have started by providing that permanent affordable housing, but beyond that, we help with basic human needs, groceries, toiletries, household goods, furniture, education, employment, and on and on and on we could go. We help with financial literacy. We help people budget. We help people plan for the future. All of that happens with their case managers who work with them on their individual plans, their individual goals, and then they take steps to achieve those goals.
They help me with therapy, Medicaid, food stamps, getting a job, going to school. I'm back in school. They even help with my kids getting therapy. They even come by, give gifts for birthdays, Christmas. They come to look at your home. Hey, you need pots, pans, clothes, shoes, anything that I need. Supportive housing will find a way for me to get it or direct me to a resource to get it.
I was in the hospital, had some surgery done, lost my job because I was so sick. I had a daughter at the time, so I had a little one that I was raising, and I didn't have a place to go. I did some temp work at the time, and I was able to save up so much here at McCreesh Place with the opportunity that they gave me to stay for that year, and I was able to move out on my own after that. I was able to land that permanent job in that time span, and I was able to get on my feet, and now I just want to give back, and I appreciate so much the opportunity that I've gotten from McCreesh Place and from all the help and the support that I've gotten.
I think the only way we're going to continue to address the homelessness and serve our neighbors is by finding more affordable housing and being creative, using all the resources of our community members and our volunteers and our donors.
We want to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. So how do we invest in prevention? How do we support people as they transition back to housing? And then how do we look at preserving or naturally occurring affordable housing? How do we prevent gentrification in areas that have more affordable housing? And how do we expand affordable housing in our community?
Other than it being in housing, just the support of having someone that you can just call them like, hey, I need help, or what to do or how to do something, and just having someone you can reach out to.
Sometimes we want to do it ourselves, don't think we know the right direction, and sometimes we might not always have it all figured out. You might need that support system, and I think having a good place like McCreesh really means a lot to the community, and really means a lot to people that have experienced homelessness or experiencing homelessness at this point.
McCreesh Place and its growth and the growth of other sites under supportive housing communities shows demonstrably how much progress has been made.
I don't know that we'll ever solve completely homelessness, but one of the ways to work on it is to provide a roof and walls for people who've been living out in wide open spaces or in the woods or whatever. It's good to see what supportive housing community is doing.
You should donate because I'm just like walking proof. Like, you know, if you would have seen me 2 years ago, you'd be like, yo, that girl is going through it. But to see me now, it's like I never want to give this up. I want to be a part of this. I would love to work for these people because I was just like, I have so many people out there that need this, that need the help.